All right. Holt, get up here, buddy.
How's it going, everybody? I want to apologize. You're probably really sick of looking at me right now. So.
That's actually the most impressive part about the movie for me. It's most of the movie is just you.
Yeah.
How did you prepare to be in a movie that's, almost every scene is you by yourself, and that's a really tragic thing to kind of put yourself into a character for.
Yeah, it to be honest with you, it sucked in a lot of different ways. Like, I remember when I read the script and I talked to the director, Michael Urenko. I know it's a slow burn, and you're either going to like it or you're going to fucking hate it. It is what it is. It's a long drawn movie and stuff, and it's a lot to ask of the audience to really follow you and keep the attention span, especially because it is a slow-paced film. I apologize. The dialogue in the earlier part was a bit low as well, but it was a really big, daunting task from the standpoint of trying to be honest with a character at the same time, be somebody that the audience cared about. And then just the the logistics of the situation as well. But it was I knew it was going to be a risk going into it.
So I love scary movies and I love horror movies, and I know that this movie must have been really hard to prepare for because it is dealing with a lot of ghosts and entities and demons. How did you prepare for that kind of a role? Because I've seen you in a bunch of different stuff, and this role is probably the darkest I think that I've seen you in. What did you do to Doonin?
Well, prior to
Vegetable steamer.
Yeah, he's disgusting, by the way, Anthony. The hardest part for me was I'm a father. I've got 3 daughters, and the video footage and stuff that Eugene's watching of his family. Originally, the director wanted me to do some stuff with my own family, and I was like, no effing way, because if God forbid if something were to happen to one of my kids or whatever, it just this movie would throw me over the edge. For me, the loss as a parent, the loss of and you read stories about this, but you think about somebody who has a wife and children and a family, and immediately there was an accident in the backstory where they're in a car accident and my wife and daughter die. But to lose your world in an instant, for me, really spoke to really the loneliness of what Eugene was going through. As far as the demonic possession stuff, I did a lot of research, watched a lot of tapes, not movies, because that is what it is. Tapes and stuff I could find on the subject. For the most part, the biggest, I guess, challenge for me is once Eugene comes to, and there's this fine line of, at the end we realize that the demon's kind of taken over or whatever. Walking that fine line where it doesn't give it away to the audience, at the same time, show, bits of him here and there prior to the end without giving it away.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job, because when I watched it, I was like, well, I could differentiate the character, like one's you and this is the demon here.
Very cool, man.
And I can't imagine how hard that was to be basically the singular person in every scene. There's a few scenes where other people in there, but that's a rough
the biggest
task to have.
The biggest thing that sucks is logistically. It's probably the physically the toughest shoot I'd done. Initially, I was doing 2 films that summer, and that was supposed to be the first one. I was going to lose a bunch of weight. I imagine this guy is just living on cigarettes and drinking and deep depression. And it came off another film where I'm the handsome leading man and fit and girlfriend. Actually, my wife in the past film, we shot all the behind the scenes footage, and she's the one that plays my wife in the old stuff here, with the executive producer's daughter. And but we went out to the Poconos to where we shot it, and I wanted to stay as pale as humanly possible. It takes place during the winter, and it's fucking summer in the Poconos. And on days off, everybody's going, on 4-wheelers and going out to the lake, and I'm just sitting inside, staying away from the sun when it's 90 degrees outside, and wanting to go outside, and it just wasn't it. And I'm eating, I'm eating apples and a slice of chicken each day and smoking cigarettes like it's nobody's business. But it was physically very uncomfortable. It kind of sucked from that standpoint.
You did a really good job.
Thanks, brother.
So I really loved it, and when I first saw it, I was really enthralled by it. But I do want to kick it off to the crowd. Who's got any questions for Holt? Anybody got any questions? Cool.
Done.
Go ahead.
Did y'all do a build for the attic, or did y'all make some kind of?
Yeah, that was completely built out. Yeah, Matt Engelbert, amazing production designer, used to be based here in Texas. Who also worked on the film I did prior to that. Built a whole attic. The cabin was actually the director's, his brother's house. And, some of the budget went into the rebuild of some of the stuff that we trashed up. But, the whole attic did not exist before. And I remember I had a week off between films when the last one I wrapped, and then I flew to the Poconos and seeing this attic that did not really exist. It was really uncomfortable because you had to kind of climb up into it. But yeah, it was really cool.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it looked like it sucked. It's the magic of makeup. They've got these eye drops that you put in your eyes that make them look blood red. The bad thing was that wouldn't last for more than a few minutes. So every single take, it was just bump bump go, bump bump go, And I know Aaron, the makeup artist, wanted to kick me in the junk. Like, it was just got really, really old, and so, Anybody else?
Just curious how long the shoot was and how long the post
Yeah, the shoot was 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks, like 3 weeks and a couple days. It was nice because the majority of it was in a secure location. Post. There's a long story behind post. I'll have to give you over a couple beers or something like that. A long story. It's some issues with the producer that was handling post production. It was initially finished, and they tried to release it, and at very, very best, it was a work in progress, and that is me being very generous with it. It was fucking horrible. I mean, it was so bad. The sound, there was no sound design. I know you couldn't tell, but it's actually got a pretty extravagant sound design, and there was no score, no color correction. There was an Apple box, which filmmakers, there's something you see on set left in one of the shots. You can see like the boom, and it just anyway. So we raised a fit, and the director actually hated the initial cut. He wasn't handling post production, but he went and sold his car, bought an editing system, and recut it himself, and he's the one that makes it even watchable today. So, I wish he was here to give him credit, but yeah, Michael Urenko. It's funny because Urenko contacted me about 2 years earlier, tried to get me on another film called For the Love of Jade, and I thought, wow, this, he's on the East Coast, this obscure Japanese director wants to use me for a film, and that's all exciting. And then I find out after knowing him on social media for like a year and a half that he's not even fucking Japanese. He's I was so heartbroken by that. But he's just some guy from Eastern PA, man. But yeah, he's a good guy though. We've got another film coming up.
So I meant to tell you this earlier. The first thing I saw you in was one of my all-time favorite TV shows, Jericho. That's the first time I'd ever saw you in something. And you're busy. You're always doing something. What are your next projects that you have going on right now?
Yeah, that was actually my very first TV gig. That
was it?
Yeah. That was so cool. That's awesome you said that. It sucks. The incentives in Texas really removed a lot of big employment.
Yeah.
Just got a vote in today where they want to completely nix the film incentives 100%. So to where none of the TV shows and stuff, I mean, there's no real reason for them to come here when they can shoot anywhere else. That kind of sucks. I'm branching out to Atlanta to do some things. I've got a few films in the works. Another thriller called Impuritus with Urenko with a nicer budget and so forth and so on. Shoots or partially. It's not all a one-man show like this one was, but it takes place in a detective gets called out in the middle of a snowstorm to an insane asylum, and it's crazy. So. But yeah, it's a period piece, which is really great. You know, a lot of really good moving parts to that one.
So what was the budget for this film? Because this was actually shot really well.
Yeah.
I mean, it
yeah.
carries you through the film. The shots and the cinematography really helps. You know, if you don't have a good shot movie, it's hard to follow it. But this one has a really well shot movie. So I'm interested to see on what this budget is and what the budget for the next one is.
Yeah, the budget for this one was about 175. Yeah, another long story over a couple of beers on. Anyway, but yeah, the actual budget was 175. The one for Imperitus is $1 million. So
wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was really happy with. I thought the cinematography looked really, really good. Yeah. Long story short, we had a DP which shot a teaser that we raised the money with, which I'm so proud of. It's really good. Brought him on first week, just did not gel. First 3 days did not gel and just kind of sucked. And then so we ended up flying up the DP we just used on the film in Texas, which MJ Marcenic, really, really great DP that was based out of San Antonio. And really did a bang-up job. I mean, especially for the time constraints, the money constraints, and was able to, you know, one thing I like about Michael as well, too, Yurinko, he likes a lot of dirty framing, and he likes stuff that is not just, you know, on sticks and just sitting there. And so I thought it looked really good. So
yeah, I did too. Well, thanks so much. It was so good to see you.
Absolutely, man. Always.
Also, he's in American in Texas. He plays an amazing part in American Texas. When that comes out, everybody must see that. He really steals a lot of those scenes from that movie too.
Yeah.
He does. Other than that, stick around. We got Creepy Shorts starting at 10, and we still have the VIP rooms open here and over at the Welder Center. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This goes